Hi everyone, it's Kristi. Welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing some things on how to create a recipe in the Weight Watchers app, as well as some other things that you can do in the app. I do have an old video, probably 2 years old, that shows how, that kind of goes through and shows how to create a recipe, but it's an older video. A lot of people aren't finding it unless they scroll way down on my video list, and I'm not sure if there's been changes because that was an old program. So I thought, let's just update it. Let's do a new one. So I'm going to take you along. I'm going to share with you not only how to create a recipe, I am going to do that, but I'm going to share with you just some other little things that you can do with the app. There are some things that I think a lot of us take for granted, especially if we've had the Weight Watchers app for years, but there's still honestly some things that even I find that I didn't realize. And usually when I do videos like this, some of you even let me know of different ideas. So I'm going to share some things, but I encourage you to share things as well in the comments. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are new to Weight Watchers that maybe will be watching this video. So if you have some ideas or just some tips of things that you've come across in the app, please feel free to share them down in the comments below. So I'm going to spin you around and let's get into this app. All right, so when we first go into the app, this is the page that it starts at. At the top, we have our days of the week. The day that we're on usually has a circle around it. So if you want to switch to a different day, you would just press that day to go to that. You can also go to previous days by swiping over. Like if you want to go to a previous week, say I wanted to see what I had to eat on a certain day, then I could just click and go to that actual day. But for today, we're just going to start with the basics. So now I need to go back to today and press that. So it has breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, water. I don't track my water just because I drink water all day long, so there's really no sense tracking it. But if you have trouble keeping up with your water, then this is something that you can keep track of. So you can change the settings here. Just hit the little settings on the water, and then you can go to custom serving size. Like if you want to put a specific serving size, like 11 ounces, then you can do that. Otherwise, you go in and you have the serving size be 8 or 12. So let's say you're somebody who drinks bottled water. You may want to go in here and change this to 17 because it's what, 16.9 ounces in a bottled water. So you could estimate it at 17. So then what you're going to do is every time, yes, I want to make these changes. Every time you add, hit the plus sign, it's going to add 17 fluid ounces. So that's saying that's one container of water. So just keep in mind though, it's 16.9, not actually 17, but close enough in my book. So then for your tracking, you're just going to go in and you're just going to track whatever you're eating. So you can go to the search, you can either type in what you're eating, whether it's eggs. Now, you don't have to track your 0-point foods. For me, I track everything, and I do that for a number of reasons. If I get to where I am going through a flare, I may want to look back and let my doctor know things that I've eaten. I don't know why I got eggs kiwi, but I may want to just go back and, let my doctor know, or just take a look at things to see what have I been eating that's kind of put me in a flare. So that's completely up to you. You definitely don't have to track the 0-point foods though, completely up to you. Or maybe you want to track them and you're just going to put it in as general eggs. You can do that. Or you can scan the actual brand that you use. So that's all optional, completely optional. Now, something it does have is multi-track. So let's just say I have several things that I've recently eaten that I want to track all together. So let's just say I want to track zucchini, mushrooms, and salsa. You're going to hit multi-track and you're just going to check zucchini, mushrooms, and salsa. And then when you hit multi-track 3 items, it will automatically go to your day. I'm not going to do that today. Something else you can do is, let's just say my lunch. Now, let's say I'm going to eat the same thing. So yesterday I ate my chocolate chip peanut butter overnight oats. I actually made them for breakfast, and I ended up making eggs for breakfast. So I had my breakfast for lunch. So let's just say that I'm going to have that again. If you click on it, it's going to pop it up and give you the option to track it. And then you can edit it from there if you want to change the serving or whatever you want to do. But if you come in here and instead of clicking, you just pull it to the right, track to today. There you go, done. Already tracked it to today. So it's in my lunch, right there. Now I can go in there if I want and change the serving size. Let's just say that I ended up only having half of it. I'm going to go in, I'm going to change the serving size, hit set. It's on lunch already, and I'm going to hit update. Now, let's say I want to remove it. You can do one of two things. You can either click it and then go into it and then hit remove, or the quicker way is swipe this way, remove, done. Now, like I said, you can search for foods. You can tell it what you want to look up. So let's just say I want to look up President Feta Crumbles. President Fat-Free Feta. There you go. So you're going to get the different options. Sometimes when you search it, it may not be the exact one. So this one is President Feta Crumbles Fat Free. So we're just going to scan the barcode. Maybe. All right, so these ones are still 1 point. But I have I think they're basil or Mediterranean something. Those, when you search it, comes out 1, but when you scan it, it's 0 for 1 ounce. So you kind of have to watch that. But this one, either way, usually when I have these, I have just a ½ an ounce. So if you toggle it down, change it to 0, you can see that you can actually have, I think it's 7/8. Okay, 7/8 it becomes. So you can have 3/4 of an ounce for 0 points. So that's how you search or scan it. All right, another thing you can do when you're in here. So you've got barcode scanner, you've got quick add, and you've got create. So the quick add is if you can't find something, maybe you've tried searching for something and you can't find it, you can just add it. Let's say I had something that I don't have time to go in and figure out the points for it, but I'm going to estimate. I pretty much know what it is based on what's in it. Maybe it was some cookies that I'm going to count as 10 points. So I would go in here, I would put cookies. Then it's going to ask for the personal points. I'm going to put 10. It's going to ask the meal time. This was a snack and it was today, and then I'm going to track it. So then when I go down to my snacks, I can see cookies 10. And we're going to remove those because I really didn't have those. And also if you're in your tracker, so it automatically starts on recent. Then you also have a tab here called lists. So this is items you've saved, items you've created, scanned foods, your 0 point foods, restaurants. So let's say you're going to a restaurant for dinner and you want to look up the points for something. You can either search by points. So if you click points, you've got how many points there are. But usually what I do is go into restaurants. I'll go in and search. Let's say we're going to Chili's, which pretty much when we go to Chili's, I have their ancho salmon. It is so good. And here's all your Chili's items. So this will kind of let you know. There's the ancho salmon, 7 points. So then you can go through, and that's something you can do, is kind of go through and decide what you want ahead of schedule. So then in here, you got your 0 point foods list that tells you all your 0 point foods and items you've created. That's in here. So apparently one time I created Beef O'Brady's teriyaki chicken wings. So it's not giving points right now because this was actually probably on the old program, so it wasn't It probably isn't recognizing it right now. So anything that you've created will go in there. Okay, now we're going to go to create. So for create, you can create a food, which gives you the calculator. Now, when you create a food, you have to keep in mind that it's not going to take into consideration that it's got 0 point foods. So that's why a lot of times when you scan something versus when you clock everything into this calculator doesn't know to pull the 0 point foods from the points. So keep that in mind. So I very rarely use that calculator. I usually will go in and create the recipe. Now you can create a meal. So I don't know if you saw, let me go back to my breakfast. I have my coffee created as a meal. I don't usually create too many meals because usually when I eat different meals, like I'll create a recipe, but not necessarily a meal. So my morning coffee is saved as a meal. So what I did is I put everything in and then I hit save as meal. So let's just say that this right here is something that you eat. Everything here, my breakfast, everything I ate up for my breakfast is something that I eat every single day. And I just want it simple. I can go to save meal and I can enter a name, whatever I want. So let's just say I call it, maybe this is something that I only eat on days that I'm working remote. I'm teleworking. I can call it my teleworking breakfast. I can name it that. You can name it whatever you want. So that's how you save the meals. Okay, to create a recipe, you're gonna go to create recipe. You're gonna give the recipe a name. So the recipe I'm putting in today is bacon, cheeseburger, meatloaf. This is one that I made recently. So this one has 2 servings the way that I make it. But let's just say you're making like a casserole or something and you're really not sure how many servings it's going to make. Typically for casseroles, I usually start them at 8 servings. You can always come back if you realize that, wow, this really made a big portion. You can always come back and change it. So let's say that it really made a lot more than you thought and you want to change it to 10 servings, or you need bigger servings, so you're going to change it to 6. So for a casserole type thing, I would usually start at 8, you know, something like in a 9 by 13 casserole dish or something. But for today, for this one, this makes enough for 2. Now we're going to add in the ingredients. So we've got the servings in there. Now we're going to add the ingredients. So you want to add the full amount of everything you're putting into the recipe. So let's say that you are making a casserole that has 2 cups of cheese, it has 4 eggs. You're going to put those full amount. You're not going to try and divide it by the 8. You're going to put the full amount of everything that goes into that. And the app is going to make the calculation for you. The app is going to take all those ingredients and divide it by 8 to give you your points at the end. So for me, I'm doing just 2 servings. The first thing I want is 96% extra lean ground beef. And it should automatically come up. Uncooked extra lean ground beef, 96% lean, right there. And I'm using 10 ounces. So I'm having 5 ounces per portion. So I'm putting in the full 10 ounce that I'm going to use for 2 of them. If you want to put preparation, you can. I don't usually do that when I'm just figuring the recipe. Now, I don't have all the ingredients in front of me. Otherwise, if I were actually making this, I would be scanning everything. So let me just show you, because one thing I do need is some bacon bits. So if I were actually doing this with everything in front of me, I would be scanning everything. So I'm going to scan this. And that's exactly how much I'm going to use, is 1 tablespoon. So I'm going to add ingredient. Now I'm going to add panko breadcrumbs. Panko breadcrumbs, and I need 2 tablespoons of those. So it's on quarter cup right now. So I'm going to change that. I'm going to change this over here to tablespoons, change that to 0, and that to 2. So 2 tablespoons of panko. Add ingredient. I need dill pickles. Now that's a 0 point, so you don't necessarily have to add that. But like I said, I add everything. Whoops. Dill lickles. Dill pickles. So just find whatever. It's actually chopped dill pickles. I'm doing probably about 1.5. They're actually 2 mini. It's probably about a 1/4 cup that I use. So I don't have to be technical with that because that's 0 points, but at least tells me that that's what I need. And I also am going to be adding 1.5 tablespoons of ketchup. And I use Heinz. So I need 1.5. And finally, I'm going to be adding reduced fat cheese. And I'm pretty sure the kind I have is the Great Value Deluxe. So that's my recipe, and it's telling me that each serving is 8 points. So now I'm going to hit this check mark up here to save it. And then I can track it from here. Now, let's just say that we ate it and we decided that that was just way too much. I could actually make a 3rd serving out of it. You would just come in and hit that edit button that I hit right here. Just go back into your recipe, hit edit, and change the servings to 3. And as you can see, it's going to change the points per serving down to 5. So that's how you can kind of play around. So if you make a big casserole and you want to come in and play around with the serving just to see what it does for points, then you can do that. So now once you've created that recipe, it will stay there. So let's say that next week you decide that you want that again. You're just going to go back in there. I don't know why I'm typing naked. Trying to do this with my camera like literally right in front of my face. Bacon. And you usually can just start typing it. So the first thing that will come up is actual food items that are like in the Weight Watchers app. But if you scroll down, then you're going to get to the recipes. So bacon, cheeseburger, meatloaf right there. So any of your recipes that you've put in here will be down here. There's so much more that this app has that I'm not going into. Like they've got, you know, different coaching sessions. They've got all sorts of different things in here. You can go do challenges with this little icon here. You can go in there and hit do challenges. You've got podcasts, walk talk. You've got what's for dinner. If you want a quick coaching session, they've got 5-minute coaching, daily listening. I mean, they've got a slew of information in here for you. So I really encourage you just go through and look at all the different things that you can do on the app. Now you can also use the weightwatchers.com. It doesn't do as much as the app though, so just keep that in mind. A lot of times I will go to weightwatchers.com and track my food just because I'm on my laptop more than I am my phone, just usually doing editing or whatever. So a lot of times it's just easier for me to just pull up weightwatchers.com and I can go in there and track my foods that way. But there are some things that you can't do on the web version that you can do in the app. So I know this was a little bit all over the place, but I hope you did get some value out of it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments if there are things that you've noticed in the app that you'd like me to touch on, to talk about, or different ideas that you have for tutorial type things, and I will be glad to do it for a future video. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in my next one.